Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte, these guys have been going at it on social media. And this follows Tyson Fury when he's doing his latest interview with IFL TV. He said in there how he feels sorry for Billy Joe Saunders because the fight with Canelo fell through because of this whole situation that's going on in the world. But he doesn't feel sorry for Dillian Whyte, who is the interim WBC World Heavyweight Champion and mandatory challenger. And he's meant to have his world title shot in February. And Tyson saying, well, it's not his fault or anybody else's fault that this whole situation is going on in the world. He's got his rematch with Wilder. If anything, Dillian Whyte should have to wait longer than February. So he doesn't feel sorry for Dillian Whyte, but he does with Billy Joe Saunders. Now, Dillian Whyte, of course, he's seen that and he responded to Tyson Fury on Twitter. And these guys had a bit of a back and forth. Anyway, we're getting to their statements, and this is what Dillian Whyte had to say. Gypsy Tyson Fury coward, always con the public. You forget I put you down lots before and watched you pathetically sobbing on the canvas. You ran away last year when the WBC ordered you to fight me. Anytime, anywhere, anyhow. Hashtag fake Tyson, hashtag coward. Tyson Fury responds to Dillian Whyte with this. Dillian, you're a mug. Come back when you achieve something, you dosser. A man who had famous for getting chinned by AJ. Laughing. Then Dillian Whyte responds, listen, Luke, fake Tyson Fury, you're a deluded gypsy coward who lies about everything. When I was knocking you down and you were sobbing, I felt sorry for you and started taking it easy. But next time I will retire you. Hashtag coward, hashtag fake Tyson. Tyson then responds, Dillian, in your dreams, bum. Listen, wait like a good boy and I might think about giving you a payday, only if you're nice. Until then, keep fighting 40-odd-year-olds in Eddie's garden, Mr. Big Time. Laughing. So there you have it. Now, first thing that stood out to me here is the fact that Tyson never actually denied that Dillian Whyte was knocking him up and down on the canvas in sparring a few years ago. But sparring, these things happen. This is where you're supposed to get beat up. So it doesn't happen on the big night. That's where you learn. So sparring. Now, as far as Tyson saying how he feels sorry for Billy Joe Saunders but doesn't feel sorry for Dillian Whyte, well, Billy Joe Saunders is a two-weight world champion. So Billy Joe Saunders has already had his world title opportunities, hasn't he? He had it against Andy Lee when he won the WBO middleweight world title. Then, of course, he then moved up in weight after all the situations with Andre and whatever else. He then moved up to 168 super middleweight and won a vacant WBO world title against a guy who I can't remember who he is. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, fantastic fighter. And yes, I want to see Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo. No doubt about it. And I was desperately disappointed in the fact that fight fell through. And yeah, I also feel sorry for Billy Joe Saunders as well, because Billy Joe Saunders, he may have the skills to beat a Canelo. That's for sure. So I do want to see that fight. So I do agree with Tyson from that point. But for him to say he doesn't feel sorry for Dillian Whyte, well, first of all, he doesn't need his sympathy, that's for sure. But let's not contradict ourselves here, Tyson, because Tyson, it was you who was saying before you beat Deontay Wilder for the second time, yeah, the WBC, they've done Dillian Whyte dirty. How they've treated Dillian Whyte is despicable. Why would they make me mandatory and replace me with Dillian Whyte when I've already got the fight with Wilder? What they've done with Dillian Whyte is terrible. I promise you, Dillian, when I beat Wilder, you will be my first title defence. Suddenly now he's world champion. Oh, well, Dillian Whyte is a bum. He doesn't deserve it, blah, 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 blah. Acting the same way that Wilder done. Saying how easy that Dillian Whyte is, but showing no form of really wanting to fight him, which is weird, isn't it? And yes, Dillian is correct as well that Tyson Fury did turn down the WBC ordered fight for the WBC diamond belt. That Fury asked for the diamond belt to be on the line. And then he went, nah, you're right, and pulled out. That's a duck. Especially when you duck him to go fight Otto Wallin. That's a duck, right? So it's just weird though, isn't it, that now suddenly he's champion, he doesn't feel sorry for Dillian Whyte. With the reason being that he shouldn't have to fight Dillian Whyte in February because of this whole situation that's going on in the world with the pandemic and everything. Everything's being pushed back. So therefore, Dillian Whyte's date of February should also be pushed back. You could look at it from the outside and go, well, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, everything's been pushed back. So all fights with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. That was supposed to have taken place in July. Now it's going to be pushed forward to a November or December time. That's not Tyson Fury's fault, it's not Wilder's fault or anything like that, which is true. It's not. So therefore, does Dillian Whyte have to be pushed back as well? Well, let's look at it this way. Tyson Fury, when he rematched Deontay Wilder, when he beat him, walked into that ring as mandatory. When you're mandatory, you don't need to sign a rematch. So what did you sign a rematch for? That's not Dillian Whyte's problem that you signed a rematch. It's not Dillian Whyte's problem that your fight with Wilder didn't happen in July. It's not Dillian Whyte's fault that between when you do fight Wilder, whether it be November or December, there's not a great deal of time between that time and February. Even though I'm pretty sure Dillian, he may give a bit of grace or something and say, okay, fine, let's do it in March or April, something like that. You know, let's space it out a little bit. As long as I definitely know that you're fighting me next, I'm okay to be maneuvered a little bit. Maybe. Again, I don't know this one. But the thing is, Fury, he signed a rematch when he didn't need to. He was mandatory challenger. When you're mandatory, you don't have to sign a rematch. You don't need to. If it's just a voluntary and the champion insisted on a rematch just in case I get beaten, fair enough. But when you're mandatory, you don't have to sign a rematch. It's not like Fury needed to for a payday because Fury is guaranteed $100 million. Doesn't matter who he fights across his 5-fight deal. Doesn't matter. So why did he sign a rematch clause? How's that Dillian Whyte's fault? That's not Dillian Whyte's fault. That's Fury's fault. And if his rematch with Wilder happens in January or February the 1st, oh well, unlucky son. You shouldn't have signed the rematch. You didn't need to. You're still going to fight Dillian Whyte in February. That's how it could be. That's honesty, right? That's how it is. I know some Fury fanatics won't like hearing that, but that's the truth of it. He didn't need to sign a rematch, but he did. And why suddenly now he's doing a complete U-turn of before he was a champion, Dillian Whyte, he's been hard done by Dillian. He deserves his world title shot. Dillian, I promise you, my first defense will be against you. And suddenly now he's champion. Oh, well, wait in the line and I might give you a payday. I don't think Dillian Whyte's too worried about the payday. Dillian Whyte's getting paid well. I don't think he's worried about the payday. Honestly, I don't. But here's the thing. Both of these guys just need to get in the ring. But more importantly, both of these guys need to be concentrating on their next fight. Fury needs to be concentrating on Wilder, not Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte needs to be concentrating on Povetkin, not Tyson Fury. While you would favour Fury to beat Wilder and you would favour Dillian to beat Povetkin, neither one of these guys taking a loss would be a massive shock, would it? It wouldn't. It's heavyweight boxing. Both of these guys are dangerous. Well, all four of these guys are dangerous, but Wilder, he's dangerous with that big punch, and Povetkin, he's dangerous with that left hook and his amateur pedigree, former world champion, Olympic gold, and all that kind of stuff. So, yes, he's 40 years old, but and as Tyson Fury says, keep on fighting these 40-year-olds. Well, Fury, you've done a few of those in your time, boy. You've done a few of those. Pianeta weren't no spring chicken now, was he? He really weren't. Seferi was a school teacher, second best Albanian cruiserweight. So let's not start throwing stones from our glass house. If this is a situation, if Fury can't get out of the Wilder fight and Dillian can't get out of the Povetkin fight, concentrate on those two fights, and then you two fight each other next. Then the winner can go off into the sunset and go take on for the massive money against Anthony Joshua for Undisputed. Again, if Anthony Joshua manages to retain his belts. Anyway, is what it is. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.